Thank you for joining us for this week's session of the Pulse Live. And again, just to make sure before we start, everyone can hear me and everyone can see my screen, right?
Yep.
Perfect. All right. For those of you that don't know us, my name is Maria.
I'm Tim.
And we're going to go ahead and get started. I feel like we say this every week, but man, what a week again. I had a really good week. I hope all of you did too. Tim, I know you had a really good week too.
I had a good week, and just overall, I think everybody did. We've been saying this the past few weeks, but we keep noticing that the low float stocks are starting to move again. They took a break for a while, but they continued this past week, so that was good. And options were doing well, so low floats were doing well. So it's just a really good week in general.
Awesome. So this past week, we saw some volatility due to a little bit of turmoil in Washington on rising fears of a global trade war. On Friday, the White House did try to ease those fears by saying that President Trump was working with a number of countries on the possibility of providing exemptions on steel and aluminum import tariffs. Crude rallied late on Friday, avoiding a weekly slump. Gold ended the week with heavy losses ahead of the Fed's meeting this week where it's widely expected that we will see an interest rate hike. Last week, the S&P 500 broke a four-session losing streak, advancing roughly 0.2% on Friday. The Dow added 0.3%, and the Russell added 0.6%, while the Nasdaq underperformed but still closed a tick higher. On Friday, 9 of the 11 S&P sectors closed green, with energy leading the pack, probably because of the jump in the price of crude. For the week, though, 9 of the 11 sectors closed in negative territory, with materials being the weakest, down 3.2% for the entire week. Financials, consumer staples, and industrials, I meant to click this, and industrials also showed particular weakness. Rate-sensitive utilities and real estate both finished the week in the green. So let's go ahead and move on to some of the fun stuff.
So I want to get started with a few penny stocks, low floats. I shouldn't call them penny stocks. These aren't OTC or anything, but one of the ones, Friday, AMTX, it did have some news associated with that one. Nice run, easy double. SMRT, they had earnings, I believe it was Wednesday after the bell, or maybe it was, yeah, they had some continuation Friday, SMRT. RKDA, I mean, this thing went to, $60 on us. That was interesting from, 15 or 16. LFN got going again. PTI, one of my favorites. I like that one. Still like where it's at. Still like how it's doing. AMRS, after ER on Friday, they actually traded 25 times their average volume. Really nice day on Amy. Good earnings. That one, I'm a long-term bull on, so, I don't want to sway anybody here, but keep an eye on Amy. We like Amy. AVEO, that was one that I think Wednesday, Maria, we'd actually seen some flow in AVEO, and we had posted it because we thought it was funny. It was a couple dollar stock, but we're starting to see some flow in AVEO, and we're like, what's going on here? So we decided to keep an eye on that. That had a little Friday pop. I mean, it had sold off for a couple of days, but that was an interesting close of the day Friday on AVEO. Z-Fan, we keep talking about it every week, and I think we'll be talking about it into the future. That one was an exciting week as well. Also, ECYT, even though it did close down Friday, that's one that I'm also still keeping an eye on because, just all the recent news in ECYT. So good low float week. And it looks like ECYT there actually held some support. So let me pull that chart back up. Yeah, that's not bad. Let's see how it does from here. But yeah, I like where you've got that line across there.
Up here?
And,
I like this line right around here. And somewhere in this level, I'd be okay with it. As long as it doesn't break this support back here too much. Which it flashed a little bit down below, but this seems to be a pretty steady level for right now.
So I like that one. And PTI, go ahead and chart that one real quick, Maria, and pull that up while we're talking about these. Just one of my favorites. I like how that one's been doing as well, and it looks like a nice couple of days of just hanging in there. So I want to
So
keep an eye
on
on this one
Friday,
next week.
right, when we zoom out, look at that consolidation before that little pop on Friday.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's definitely one just to keep an eye on.
Go ahead and pull up AMTX too while we're at it. Just because I want to see how that one did close Friday. Let's, we'll definitely keep an eye on that one Monday too. I mean, that one went from just dead to pop. Like I say, there was some news for that. That one we'll keep an eye on as well. So hopefully the low float players have another good week like they did this week. Um, we had talked last week of some of the things that we wanted to see this week, and part of what I had said last Sunday that I wanted to see myself, I wanted to see the cats, the McDonald's continue. Cake had been running. I felt like there was still some hesitation in some of those bigger names, but they did not disappoint this week. Cat McDonald's definitely did well. See, Alta, I know you got a good scalp on Alta Friday. We're going to watch that one for continuation as well. Go ahead and pull that up. I
Yeah,
mean, that
I
one looked
felt it in the
like,
morning.
yeah, that one looked horrible after that ER came out. But as the afternoon progressed, and this is why we don't like to trade these things in the first 5 minutes. If you traded Ulta in the first 5 minutes, you probably went short and you probably got spanked, right? So give them a few minutes to settle out. And we have a 5 minute rule in Black Box. We talk about this a lot. You'll see things go straight up, straight down, and they don't know what they're doing because they're still going through the report just like everybody else. Um, so keep an eye on Ulta. I mean, especially where it's at there. Looked like just a kind of a flat day after that pop. So we'll see, what kind of continuation we get on that. I mean, they had range, but I mean, overall, it was pretty tight after that initial hour or so. So we'll keep an eye on Alta, but definitely glad that McDonald's, John Deere, Caterpillar. We missed an entry on Caterpillar this week after playing it a couple times last week. And we haven't had a bad trade on Cat. Not that we won't, because at some point we will. You always, you play anything long enough, you'll have a bad trade in it. But here lately, anyway, we've just been killing Cat. But we did miss that entry. Carrie Marie had mentioned that one. I think it was on Wednesday, and she said, "Look, this may be our low." And okay, you got the chart up, so yeah, Wednesday. Little dip too on Thursday, but just after that, it was just gone, gone, gone. It looks like it likes to dip in the morning and rip. Well, some of the days
Yeah.
it actually ripped and then dipped. So anyway, she's funny, but I want to keep an eye on that one. Like I say, John Deere had a good Friday as well. Some of the names I like to watch just for general sentiment for myself. I know Vishal loves watching McDonald's, and he played that one here recently too. Boeing, another one that we had played last week a few times. We're actually still long calls. We got the 350s for, I think, April 20th. But that one right there, if you look at those 3 days, Tech Money actually called those lows at least 2 of those days. I know he played it all 3. He may have called the lows on it all 3 days. I know we followed him Thursday and Friday. I was out a lot of the day on Wednesday. But Thursday and Friday, we just killed it off him saying, all right, bottom's in. And we had some great killer trades on Boeing. So hopefully that thing is finally leveled out. It looks like that 322-ish area maybe our new support, 322 to 325-ish, in those ranges. So looks like higher lows going across there anyway, but it's also lower highs. So we'll see what this thing does. I want to keep an eye on that one. X, Friday, we had a lot of flow in X on Friday, and also we found out that insiders were buying on Friday. I know you scalped that one on 100% Friday. I don't know what you did on it, but how you did on it,
I
but I know
didn't
you
catch
had scalped
100%
that.
on it. Right. I didn't catch 100%, but it was a good trade. It was a really good trade. I didn't see it start to move. Like I saw the flow coming in, and I probably caught about three candles here, and then instead of holding on to it, I sold it. So I sold it way too early, but I did catch a nice scalp on it.
Yeah, that was. We had a few people that actually played that one. Another one, had some good opportunities. Walmart. There was some kind of lawsuit scandal, ex-employee, and people get excited when they see a lawsuit and they say, this guy punched my dog, then he ate it, and this and the other. You can say anything you want in a lawsuit, right? That doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't mean they're going to win. Not saying the guy wasn't right. I have no idea. But lawsuits always read horrible against the company. That's the lawyer's job, right? Is to make it seem as harsh on Walmart as possible, which he did a pretty good job on. As you can see, that thing actually ended up Friday higher than it was before the lawsuit. You can see that dip there. I'm glad you got the chart up on Thursday. Um, and I mean, you know, just got creamed. I know you actually bought some Thursday and Friday. Friday, you actually did have 100% on Walmart.
Yep.
I think a few people played that one and did really well. And I think also Tech Money had mentioned that something about the TEMA finally crossing on this one. So we'll probably get more in depth on this one tomorrow as well. But keep an eye on this one as well. So that lawsuit's a thing of the past as far as the stock goes. Baba, one of our favorites that we love to trade, also on Wall Street, one of his favorites. So we had bought this one Wednesday. Uh, yes, Wednesday afternoon. We kept seeing flow in AABA, which we'll get to AABA in a few minutes. And we had started discussing in the room, like, this is just crazy flow. Baba seemed to be turning. Um, I think it was like 193s when we finally decided, all right, are we going with AABA or Baba? And we made the decision to swing Baba overnight Wednesday, and we sold that one Thursday. We had the 197.50s for April 6th, I believe. Um, Good trade on that one. Then we decided Thursday afternoon, well, let's go with 200s for the same date. And sure enough, Friday, Baba it had its first close over 200. I know it's been over 200, but it's the first close that I've seen over 200 at least recently. Can you pull this back on? Well, it still wouldn't tell us the closes. As far as I know, that was the first one on Baba, first close over 200. So keep your eye on that because that that's an intriguing close. That was
Do
a
you
very good
do you
consolidation trade.
remember do you remember how hard it struggled at 200? Like look at all of this. Just
Yeah,
flat. I mean, it just could not. Seemed like forever. Um, and then, it finally popped and it was a nice close.
nice close. So we got our fingers crossed on that one this week. I think that one will gap, and there was some news on that this seen in the chat room a little while ago too. Um, Something about driverless cars or something. Hadn't had time to read it. It's a Wall Street Journal article. Haven't had time to go over all that, but I think Baba continues just over the close. And if you give it any other news and a reason to, then this one could go. Um, Square, PayPal last week. Um, so your payment companies were just rocking. Look at is it which one is this? Square.
That's square, yeah.
Yeah, incredible week. So, I don't like buying up here, and I'm not personally. I would need a dip on this one, but then again, I say that, and I've seen companies just go for months. So this one, I do love the company, and if I get any kind of decent pullback, I will be in Square. And same thing for PayPal if you want to pull that up. Um, I know we all owned PayPal in the room, and I think 78, 79. Not all of us, but a lot of us did. We had talked about it for a long time and we had got out of that a little too early, or maybe a lot too early. Um, so that one again, if we can get it back down in that 70, 79 range, I'll probably go long on that one again. I missed this run, but just look at that. I mean, great week.
Yeah.
Obviously off the highs there some, but still a good week on PayPal. We went in ABBV a little early. Um, it had fell down to the 115 areas. I think it's like 115.20 when we got calls on it. We got May 20th, 120s, if memory serves me correctly. And I thought it was cute, buying there at the bottom, and it was the bottom for a minute. Go ahead and pull this one out for a month or so. Let's look at this. So I thought, wow, I got a great deal on this ABBV, and I still like it. We got plenty of time on it. We've got an ER in there, sometime in April, I believe April 18th or April 20th. So we've got plenty of time on the ABBV, but you know, yeah, I like it down here. It looks like it could
I'm
go
with
down
you.
to that 112 area, just looking at your chart there briefly. But yeah, that 112 area, 112.50, 112, whatever. Um, we may have got in a little early on ABBV, but I love this company. So I'm happy with that entry on ABBV. Intel, we are still holding Intel, and have continued to pick up a little bit more last week on weakness. And I was hoping it was going to get around the 50. I was just going to call out a monster, alert on that one. But it didn't quite get down as low as I wanted to. But we are still in Intel, and this one's got some room to go, I believe, too, as well. So anyway, that's a few of the things that we own and are following, and that's just some of what we bought this week. But still in Boeing, and we'll get to some of the other things we're holding here in a few minutes. But anyway, I just wanted to go over those real quick, Maria.
Absolutely. So look at some of the ones that I was looking at. Tesla made me mad on Friday, as usual. One day, 1 minute. So I was waiting for this. Well, I saw it right after this low, and I think it was on this candle. Maybe this candle was starting to form, and I said, okay, well, I'm gonna let it do its thing, see if it pulls back. Maybe it was in this candle. Let me see if it pulls back, and I'll jump in. And I remember saying I would have liked to catch it, a couple candles back on that low a day. That would have been better. And I was distracted or something. I completely missed it. It broke out, gave back a little bit, and then kind of, just took off. Not took off. Let me actually make this. It had a nice little climb there. That would have been a nice trade. And then, end of day, it shot up. It did sell off. And I don't, let me look at one other thing. So a lot of times, it's for me, it's really hard to say what I feel or think about Tesla because you just never know. Um, it looks like there's just a little bit of support here. You see a small little gap in this area. So, and it kind of hit that spot a little bit. So I'm keeping this on watch because if this falls under and gets back down to like the 310, 315 area, um, you know, I think that may be a good area to look at it, at least for a really short-term swing. And when I say short-term, I mean like a day or so. Not really anything longer than that because it's Tesla and you just never know what's going to happen.
But
WDC is also, sorry, go ahead.
go, go, going back to Tesla for a second, listen, we love Elon Musk and want him to build us a time machine. So we're not bashing Tesla. We're just looking for
No,
entries.
not at all.
Because this guy, if anybody can build us a time machine, it's Elon. So, and we've tried to call him several times. He's just never took our call.
He
Anyway,
won't call
sorry,
us
Maria.
back.
Go ahead.
No, that's quite all right. WDC, I need to get, I think, a year pulled up. Look at that, right? It had that Toshiba business and it just, it kept bouncing up and then we find out that no, it's not going through and then it would sell off and then it'd come up and then go down and it's been a hot mess. Finally, look at that. And this was also one that I think Vishal called. He's the one that said keep an eye on this one and it took off. I did scalp it. And it was a really good trade. So thank you,
Uh,
thank you,
stay,
thank you.
stay on that chart for a second. I want you to show where it crossed the 52, the old 52-week high there. I want you to show what happened, real quick.
Right here?
Yeah. So we get asked a lot. Will you buy something at a 52-week high? I don't like to buy something necessarily approaching that 52-week high. But on a clean break, I'll play that trade right there all day. I'll play that trade, that break. We had the same break with LRCX. So I know that a lot of people are like, well, you kind of need to wait for it to pull back. Pull back to what? What was it when it broke the 52? What was I going to decide? Oh, I wish I'd have picked it up at 78. What was I going to say? No, you got to play it at that point. And not all of them break out like that. But LRCX, if you go back on the LRCX chart, it had the same move. So we do like to play a 52-week high breakout. I know that seems dangerous to some people, but that's just one of the trades that me and Maria like to make. Michelle as well. He's seen this coming. He said this is going to bump up here, and he called it all the way. So
Yeah.
it did. You can see. Pull up the LRCX. I just want to show that real quick of the same thing. How that worked out when LRCX. I believe it's 218.50 or something um, in that area. But you can see when it broke that high, there was several dollars there.
Yeah, there were.
Yeah, and it's a lot more than that looks. I mean, if memory serves me correct, that was about a $15 trade. Um, yeah, pull it up
I
on a.
mean, yeah, look at that. If you had gotten in under 200, and we were playing it because I was playing it at one point 200s on LRCX. Well, I actually lost on that trade because I didn't give myself enough time. But I had 200s because I was following flow, um, and I just didn't give myself enough time. And those actually I ended up selling for a little bit of a loss. But we were playing 200, so if you had gotten in under 200 and had given yourself some time, geez, that was a gorgeous,
Well,
gorgeous trade.
we had two we had 215s back when it was at 206 on a
Yep.
Monday. We had 215s for the following week, and actually sold at 215, our targeted hit, and we was a little bit under the 52-week high then, which I believe was around 218.50. And when it shot through that 218.50, we jumped in again and caught another $8 or $10 off that trade. And so, yes, I like to buy stuff on dips. Yes, I like to buy stuff off consolidation. But will I play one of those? Absolutely. And Maria, I didn't mean to get in the middle of what you were
No, you're
saying. I just,
totally, no, you're fine.
yeah. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
So let's see what else. We have, let's look at Netflix. And let me get just the last week pulled up. So that doesn't look very pretty back here, right? Another drop, found a bottom, bounced up, but it is still just holding. It keeps on holding. If this holds for any longer, I may actually pick up some calls, just to kind of swing and see what happens. Nothing big, but I like where it's holding support. Um, it seems to have done that over the past, 3 days. Yeah, it flashed down a little bit back here, but I'm okay with even if it were to pull down, pull back to about, that 317.75 ish, or even 317 in the 317 area. I think that would be okay. Um, so I'm definitely keeping an eye on Netflix. Let's see, GWW. I love this stock. Let's look at a year. On a year, it looks even prettier. Well, still pretty. It hit that high, 52 is 298.15. We're sitting at 288.75. If we see continued momentum in this one, that still has, 9, 10 points to play to that 52-week break. I don't know if you guys can see my MACD down here or not. So, and actually, I probably should shorten the time. So I've got it, down here on the MACD. If that starts to curl and we see that momentum start to pick up, I want to pick up some calls here because I think that could be a good play. What do you think about that one, Tim?
I actually like that. I do have that down too.
Perfect. Adobe. So Adobe beat ER nicely, very beautifully. Here's the week on it. I did scalp it in the morning. I didn't really get very much out of it. But it was a good play. I want to see if Adobe is going to hold this I don't want, it's not a gap, but I want to see if it's going to hold this level here. Because if it wants to consolidate and take off again, Adobe will continue to go. There's so much bullish sentiment out there on Adobe that as long as there's volume and people buying it'll keep going. So Adobe, I definitely am keeping an eye on. I like the ER. It was really good. The numbers were great. Things look good for them. So that's definitely one from last week that I played and will hopefully be playing again very soon. Um, Another one from last week that I saw a lot of flow on was Etsy. And I probably have to pull up a year. So this is a year on Etsy. I mean, it's climbed quite a bit. And I know, I believe, yeah, there was ER here that kind of spurred this last leg. What I'm not really truly clear about or understanding is why we're continuing to see flow in Etsy. So I know that, it's run up and I'm like you, Tim. I don't necessarily like to buy, at a high. But there's been so much flow out there, and it's one of those it's kind of one of those under the radar type of names that a lot of people, they may have heard about it, but they don't necessarily know what it is, or they don't really trade it or anything. So it kind of sneaks by a lot of people. I want to keep an eye on this one. I'm
Yeah.
not long, I'm not long. I don't have a position in it yet. Um, and I don't know if I want to take a position in it, but I want to at least watch it because there's been enough flow on this name that I feel like it deserves at least a watch.
Well, look what happened when it crossed that 22 area right there too.
Oh yeah,
Um, you know,
it just
and
took off.
this is what we talk about a lot about playing those 52 breaks. Um, and that's I don't know if that was the 52 on this one because I don't know if you're looking at the year or what you're looking at there. But anyway, when
This is
it
a year.
crossed there, boom, that is the year. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
incredible. That's incredible. So I mean, you're looking at 22 to geez, almost 30. I mean, you're looking at 40% and just boom. So yeah, keep an eye on that
Exactly.
for sure.
Okay, so those were some of the things that we saw last week. Let me get this thing going. Play from current slide. Let's talk a little bit about next week. So this coming week, global financial markets will focus on the Fed meeting, this being the first with Powell as chair. The Fed is expected to raise rates by a quarter point, which we will get confirmation on Wednesday afternoon. The G20 summit in Buenos Aires will start on Monday, with the state of the global economy and risks to growth at the top of the agenda. Multilateral trade is likely to be a major topic of discussion as well. Um, Also, regulation of crypto will probably be talked about, as we've seen some recent calls for discussions by financial officials from, I think, Japan, France, Germany, and here in the US. So that's kind of what we have going on a broad basis. Here's the economic calendar for next week. So Monday and Tuesday, we do not have any data scheduled. On Wednesday, we have existing home sales at 10 a.m. and the FOMC announcement at 2 p.m., followed by Powell's press conference at 2:30. On Thursday, we have weekly jobless claims at 8:30 and both market manufacturing and market services PMI at 9:45. On Friday, we have durable goods and core capital equipment orders at 8:30, followed by new home sales at 10 a.m. So that's what we have scheduled as far as the economic calendar is concerned. Here is this week's earnings. So the ones that we will probably be keeping the closest watch, or we will be watching the closest, are going to be Oracle, PLCE. It usually is a mover. FedEx, WGO, General Mills, 5 GPS, DRI, ECN, TCL, MU, Nike, KBH, Home, and on Friday we have nothing scheduled. So let's go and see what we might be watching for next week as far as actual plays. So Nvidia, I'm still holding calls in Nvidia. And man, let me get the let me get a one day pulled up. Nvidia, geez, that 250 break, or that was, well, let me rewind. It got through the 250, but and Tim, correct me if I'm wrong. Friday was the first close above 250 for Nvidia, correct?
Correct. Correct.
And those were the calls. I wish you had held those calls. I think you sold them around here, maybe. It was either here or here. You sold
Right.
them.
I,
But
I
that
was
was a
in the
gorgeous
snake
play,
pit.
gorgeous call.
Yeah, I was in the snake pit on those. Which in the snake pit, well, I mean, we're playing 100% Fridays on weekly expirations, and we've got in those about 45 cents, and I had got out, or saying I think it was 46. I'm like, well, 92 is my 100%, but we hate to have that number in our heads because too many things happen. You go to zero trying to get the 92, and it started looking a little funny, and I second guessed myself. And those ended up going to like $1.15, $1.20, maybe even $1.30. I
Oh
can't
my
remember.
God.
But I was out in the mid 60s, almost 66, 68. Good trade from 45. It was a short trade. We'll take it. But yeah, um, that's incredible.
So let me get a week pulled up on Nvidia. I'm liking what Nvidia is doing. And when I say I'm liking what it's doing, I'm liking the range that it's giving me on most days. This is one that I have been scalping daily for, since it was in the 30s or low 40s, maybe low 40s. Um, I've been playing NVIDIA daily since then. So we went through a period of time where it was kind of hard to figure out what NVIDIA was going to do. And I stopped scalping it for, a little bit. And I'm back to scalping it. I'm good with the range. And I feel like there's a conference coming up in April, I believe, um, that NVIDIA will be at, and that's why I'm holding those calls. It's either end of March or early April, one of the two, and I'm holding calls for that. So definitely NVIDIA is one that I will be keeping on watch, and I will continue scalping. So
I think that's
Apple,
April
sorry, go
6th,
ahead.
isn't it?
It is
Isn't
April.
that
April
April
6th
6th?
is that. That's the expiration that I'm holding is April 6th, but the conference I believe is before that. It's either that week or the week prior. I have to go back and check. I don't remember off the top of my head. So Apple, oh Apple, I'm still in calls on Apple. I have what do I have? April 180s on these. I'm holding April 180s. I had an opportunity to get out um, on Thursday and I didn't take it. Was that Thursday or Wednesday? Both days I probably could have gotten out and I didn't. So I'm still holding these. Let me get this pulled up a little bit further out. No, I want a year. I lied. Let's go back to let's go back to a 10-day. All right, this is the one I wanted. All right. So there are a lot of different levels of support through here on Apple. For me in this particular trade, I really, really am a lot more comfortable seeing this hold above that 177 to 177.50. That's really where, and that's gonna fall somewhere in this area back here if you look to the left of the screen. This is the level that I'm really hoping, not hoping, I shouldn't say hoping. This is where I want to see it hold. If it breaks this level, I will sell those calls. Underneath that, yes, there are other levels of support, probably around 176.50, 60-ish. You've got a little bit more support around 176. You'll find some support probably in the 175.50. For me in this particular trade, I'm watching 177 to 177.50. That's probably where I want to be out of this trade if it doesn't turn back around. So definitely, I'm still holding. I'm still watching those. Let's look at Amazon and see what Amazon's doing. So this is a 10-day on Amazon. Last week we talked about tech, staying relatively strong, and it did. Monday it was okay. Tuesday we saw a little bit of give back, but it didn't really break this support level over here. Wednesday it opened up and consolidated for most of the day. At least I'm going to call it a consolidation day. Thursday it broke down. It didn't break down, but it fell a little bit and consolidated. And then Friday we saw a little bit more selling. And I mean, granted that was, sector wide, especially for tech. I'm not I'm not, I'm not bearish on tech at all. I still think there's room for tech to turn around and go. I'm really interested in watching and seeing what Amazon does this coming week. Because I do think that if it breaks down, probably below that 15, let's call it let's call it the top of this green candle over here, like 1563, 1564, then I think that we might even see a pullback to that 1550 level, in which case at 1550, we could probably go long, on some out of the money calls that aren't hopefully too expensive, and potentially swing those. So Amazon is one I'm definitely keeping an eye on for potential an entry. Dollar General. So Dollar General had earnings, I believe. Yep, bounced up, kind of sold off, found a bottom here, bumped back up and consolidated. So this one I want to see it go for 96. Definitely want to see it hit that 96 and potentially try for that 96.25, 96.50 area. What do you think about Dollar General, Tim?
I think that's interesting for sure.
Yeah.
I like that, especially
Perfect.
looking back on your chart there.
So let's look what else. Mastercard, you probably need to go a little bit further out, maybe on a year, actually. So Mastercard is actually interesting. It's off its 52-week high. That's not the box I wanted. Come on. Okay, fine. So here's, the last couple months or so. It hit that high. I like where it found this support level right here. I think that it could try for that 52 again and soon. It's got just a little bit of that U shape right there, small little, I mean, I'm not going to call it a cup and handle at this point at all, but it's got that nice little U shape right there kind of going on. I want this to continue and get through that 52-week high. So I may actually take a small position in Mastercard and see if we can at least get a small trade out of a 52-week high break.
I like that.
And if I'm playing Mastercard, I've got to look at Visa. Same thing on Visa. We're not far from that 52. It's actually got a little bit more room to go. Small, if we're looking just through here, kind close enough to a double top or double top-ish that we saw the little bit of a sell-off, found support back here,
Kind of a
which,
triple top, kind of a
yeah,
triple top in a way. If
you're
it
right.
breaks here, then I think it goes.
I agree. So Visa, I'm definitely keeping an eye on as well.
Well, we're actually in
See,
Visa. We got
oh yeah,
visas
you're right.
for
In that
June.
one account, we do. I meant like a shorter term Visa, not those ones. But we do have June visas. CRM. Everyone loves CRM. I love CRM. I'm still in shock that it's still going. Let me go here. So this is a 5-week, nice pullback on it. I want to see it pull back just a little bit more so that I can go long. I would love to be long CRM, and it might be a good spot. I would love to get it, in the 125. Don't know if I'll get that. Even lower than 125 would be awesome. But
I
CRM
would
is like,
like to. I would like 120, and I mean
yeah,
that I would definitely be in at that point. If you look back on that low, um, yeah, right in there, and maybe that's 121. Well, that one and then the one above it, 120 to 121. That would be ideal for me. Um,
I
I would
agree.
love to get in that area.
I like that entry a lot better. I like it a lot better than 125. So yeah,
Oh,
let's watch for
125.
that
I mean,
level.
I'm just saying that would be. I would be like, you know, I would probably take my starter in that area, the 125 area, just knowing
And
that,
then,
hey, if it did drop, I'm willing to own some more at 120, 121 area. Absolutely.
perfect. So that's CRM. Autodesk. I'm still in Autodesk. This is a 10-day. Look at that. Look at that consolidation through here. I mean, yeah, we had a little pop or whatever, but geez, just consolidating, consolidating, consolidating. So I know you guys in the room have heard me say this. What happens when a stock consolidates? It's either going to go up or it's going to go down. We don't know. I am holding calls still. I think that there's a good chance that, especially if we see some strength in tech, even just a little bit of strength, I think this can pop. And I'm definitely still in these ones. So Autodesk, I'm still watching. I don't normally like to sit through this consolidation, but I do like Autodesk, so those ones are just sitting there. Um,
Listen, I
but man,
love that trade that you're in right there. I love Autodesk right here. I actually may join that one as well.
I mean, it's just,
So I think that,
I mean, look at
yeah,
that.
that's perfect.
First, yeah. So I'm definitely keeping an eye on Autodesk. TTWO. Tim, you like this one a lot. You love TTWO, and I agree. I like this one a lot. I need to pull up a yearly on this one. So look at where it's approaching, right? Or where it flashed down to most recently.
Interesting. I have not been keeping an eye on this one. What price is
So
that?
is that is, well, the bottom of this candle is 106 and change. Let me go to, I think after hour, or it closed at 107.03 in the after hours session, or oh 04 regular session, I believe. Nope. So um TTWO, I like this. I want to see if it's going to turn around right here. If it doesn't turn
Yeah,
around here, I
kind of
think
like
we
this
have an
area too.
entry here, somewhere down here. We may get a really low ball entry around 100, 100,
Yeah, we
102.
could get around 100. If I get at 100, I've got to take a shot. And that 106 area, I kind of like as well. But yeah, it may be one of those things where I'm like, I want three contracts. Let me buy one here, maybe two here, and if it gets down any lower, I would buy another one. I would do an entry position on it. If it goes up on me, I won't chase it to add to it. But just knowing that it could go down on me, I would probably just do an entry position. I agree.
Absolutely. DKS, Dix. I've got to pull up a 3 year so you guys can really see this. Um, it just got beat up. I mean, a hardcore beat up. It hit, I think, the high back in 2014, 62.88, down to a low in October of 23.88. So we're not picking it up right up off the bottom, but it looks like there was a little bit of support there, and it looks like it's trying to move up. Let me get, this is a 5 day on it. That would have been even an entry at 30. Shit, even an entry at like 32 would have been nice. Um, we may have, I mean, we have some resistance up here, right? It's at 35.76. We have some resistance there. Obviously, we see that. What I'm curious to see, or what I want to watch for, is where it's going to hold support. Because if it holds support up here, at least on a weekly, that is a higher low. So if it holds support there, I may go ahead and pick up a position here. All right, so let's go ahead. Just a couple more. We have FedEx. I am holding FedEx. We have ER on Tuesday. I will sell ahead of the ER. This is the 5 day on it. Really nice move on Friday. Came back a little bit, but I think that we'll see some momentum going into ER. So I will probably sell those uh, either Monday afternoon or Tuesday morning. Last one I wanted to look at was Shop. So Shop, let's look at the, here's a 10 day on Shop. It's off the high. I'm kind of feeling like it may take a dip down. And if it dips down to that 145 or even the what is this? Around 144 or so, I may go ahead and pick this up as well. So
I
Tim,
would
those
like
are the
that
ones
in
that
that
I
area
had.
too.
Yeah.
I
So
would
I
kind of
like
like
Shop a
that in
lot.
that area as well. We talked about, things I'm looking for next week. We talked about McDonald's, Boeing, CAT a little bit, John Deere, Facebook. I mean, let's go ahead and pull up a chart on Facebook. We did go ahead and buy 420s, 190s, and 195s. We're following some flow on. That had some just interesting flow the last couple of days. We did go ahead and get in that. Usually, I believe they have ER on May 1. So usually they do have a few 52-week highs are actually all-time highs going into every ER. So we're kind of comfortable in that. I kind of like that chart right there. Close over 185, so we're good there. We talked a little bit about LRCX already. AMAT, I'm watching that one, especially with MU reporting. Obviously watching MU. Thing about MU, and I love MU. I'm a bull on MU. Hey, listen, at $24, I told everybody your long-term money should be in MU, or a portion of it. So I love MU. So I don't want anybody to take this incorrectly. Generally, and I think one time it kind of bucked this. Generally speaking, it likes to sell off right after the ER. And it likes to act funny a couple days before it. And so this one's definitely on my list. I think that AMAT would run with this as well. So I'm watching MU into next week, big time. AABA, lots of flow, lots and lots and lots of flow. Like I don't see a bear out there. So we're in BABA, so would it make sense to own AABA as well? Who Probably not, but still something I'm watching because sometimes I like to play AABA as well. UPS, we had some insider buying on the other day, Friday, I believe. UPS, definitely keep an eye on that one. We own it. I believe we own the 110s for 420, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, I believe it's 110s for 420.
Yeah.
Twitter, Twitter may give us I like Twitter. I'm watching that one as well. Yeah, if I should have already been in it, but anyway, I'm watching these levels here to see if anything intrigues me. Home Depot, Lowe's. We had some people that got rock bottoms on Home Depot the other day. Definitely watching that one as well for any continuation. I know Geo got in, and a couple more people nailed that one. Microsoft, and I'm probably going a little fast on you, Maria, but it's Sunday night, and I know these people want to we got some questions waiting out there as
You're
well.
good, no worries.
Microsoft, definitely one I'm watching. I know Vishal went ahead and I believe he still owns some of the Microsoft. Actually, I'm 90% sure that he owns Microsoft as well. I'm watching this one because that's a big tech leader. So Microsoft, KSS, we bought the other day. We are holding that one still. So I want to keep an eye on KSS. Kind of like that one. Had some really good flow into KSS that we followed. So definitely watching that one. And I don't have a whole lot more.
All
We got
right, let's
questions
see.
here in a couple minutes.
Yep, we do. Just a couple more items, guys. We will get out of this quickly. Play from current slide. All right. So this week's conferences. We only have one major conference this week. That is the Telsey Advisory Group's 10th annual Spring Consumer Conference, which apparently I don't know how to spell. Sorry about that, guys. We'll be watching Jack, Dollar Tree, KSS, LVS, Macy's, and Texas Roadhouse there. There are a couple companies with annual meetings this week. On Tuesday, the 20th, Dr. Pepper and Snapple, Dr. Pepper Snapple, Dr. Pepper Snapple is hosting an investor event at the offices of Keurig. An overview of the combined company's strategy is expected. CVS will also be hosting their annual meeting on Tuesday, and Starbucks will be holding their annual meeting on Wednesday, the 21st. And that's all I had. Guys, what questions do you have for us?
Let's see. Steve Buds, EUDZ. Nice name, man. He's asking about the AMD action for the last couple weeks. Man, Steve, we've had. You know what? I don't know if anybody 100% can dissect that. If they can, let me know. We've had call writing, bid. I mean, Maria, can you? It's been everywhere.
Let's look at historical 312. Oh man. I don't know. Like we've got some calls interloped through there, but there is a lot of put activity, and what I don't know is whether or not, and this is just the last week, like activity for the last week that I'm kind of scrolling through. There is a lot of put activity. You see a lot of that on the ask. what I don't know is whether or not these are actually closing positions. There was not this past week, the week prior, there was remember Tim, there was all that put writing we saw. So I'm almost thinking
Mhm.
that people bought back their put or they closed out that transaction. There's a possibility that they may have written those. I'm not 100%
Yeah.
sure.
I mean,
I
a
like
lot of
AMD
these
long term. I love it.
we
So
love
I'm
AMD long term,
yeah.
and Maria, you're right. A lot of those are 316, so those are well, they're expired, so
Yeah,
they
they're
don't matter to
expired.
us at this point. So I mean, long term, we love AMD. Crypto King, can Bitcoin go back to 18,000? Can a Bigfoot and an alien mate? I mean, yeah, I guess maybe. I don't know. Brother, crypto. And I'm not trying to be sassy with you or anything, but I don't know much about crypto. I see a lot of articles about it. I'm probably the wrong one to ask about that. Black Box in general though is doing some very very cool stuff with crypto. And that site will be up. I don't know when, but I'm very excited about that and the future that Black Box has in that segment. I can't tell you if Bitcoin's going back to 18,000 though. So,
I think that
Brian,
this week, oops, sorry, real quick. I think that this
no,
week we'll probably see some volatility in crypto, especially for out of that G20 summit. If there are talks about crypto regulation, I would definitely be on the lookout for some volatility. I don't, as far as whether it can get back to 18,000, I mean, shit, I didn't think it could get to 8,000. So when I bought it, I bought it in the I think 3,400 or so is when I actually bought some. Um, I wasn't expecting it to get to even 8,000. So can it go back up? I think it could. Will it happen soon or will it happen at all? That we don't know. There's no way to know. But I would
there's
definitely expect to see some volatility.
Brian wants to know about the $270 sweeps on Nvidia. I saw those, Brian, and I believe those were out around April 6th. So I think that's around that conference. I know Maria and Bishal's got the 255s for that conference. Well, Bishal may have sold his. I know Maria's got hers. I did see those, and I like that close above 250. So I mean, it's Nvidia. A lot of stuff can happen. Let's see. Yeah, the 270s right there. There was a couple sweeps. First one on the bid, second one on the ask, but they went up. So 248 and 250. So you got 250 grand right there. I did see those. And I do think that's around that conference time as well. Um, Cindy, do you play Amazon long term? I don't, Cindy. I'm not a whale. Geo and some of those guys actually buy it, 6 months out, a couple $100 out of the money or at least $100 out of the money. And Geo's done very well with that. I don't like that kind of cash outlay myself, for me personally, but we do have some that do that. Um, I don't personally do it. It's just a lot of outlay for myself. Um, but yeah, we do Geo and some of those guys. They kill it with those long-term Amazons, and I do think Amazon's taking over the world. So it'll probably go to a couple thousand at some point. Brian again, ZS IPO. Man, I don't know much about that. I've seen it going across the CNBC ticker. Maria, have you had a chance to look at ZS?
Let me pull the chart up on it. I'm not very familiar with it myself. I tried to, let me get a daily because it's only been out for like a day. Let's see, or not. So, I mean, it was, I believe, from the IPO price, 106% or so, 105% maybe from the initial price is what I thought I read somewhere. I don't have too much information on it, but I know that there are definitely some articles out there. So we'll look more into it and then come back to it maybe tomorrow in tomorrow's recap.
Nate War, WAHR, I'm not sure. Can DXR make another run? The news seemed great. That's one that we watched too. That one was amazing last week. Can it make another run? Absolutely. I haven't looked at that chart, Maria.
I have it pulled up right here.
Today, yeah,
This is a 5 day. It
you
hit
don't
that high
mind.
of 2166, back down to 1360. This is one where we really are going to have to watch it. What was the news on this one? This was a heart failure thing, right? Right, Nate? Is that right?
In a second.
I'm pretty sure. The news was good. Um, I think that they're probably going to need more headlines like that to really get going. If you're in this position, hopefully you have a stop in, just as protection. Not that it can't go, it could. Um, I would just like to see, like, if you're looking through here, they look at all the if you can look, if you see on my screen, let me actually pull this up a little bit. You see all this volume right here? You see how on Friday it's starting to drop off through here, especially towards, well, we had a little bit of buying come back in, but that volume has dropped off quite a bit since Thursday. So without that volume, then you might see it, you could see this not respond the way we want it to. Although I do think that the news was good, and I do think that as long as it maintains the support level, it could continue up. It just needs a little bit of volume, and
Yeah, I
usually
mean, it was a
a
monster
headline will push
run.
it.
So, right. So, yeah, that was a totally a monster run. So, yeah, I'm definitely keeping my eye on that one as well. Somebody asked about, and I don't even want to say the name in here, the brokerage that we're getting a lower rate with. I'm not allowed to talk about that necessarily publicly. We can talk about that in the room, but I can't say that on here and it go out on the internet to the 14 people that'll watch this. But we will talk about
There are
that in the
more
room.
than
So
14 people watching.
I'm joking. I'm joking. No, I'm talking about that's going to watch it on YouTube tonight. So that for all those 14 people, no, I'm kidding about that, obviously. But yeah, I can't talk about that on here, name the broker. But I do see the question, and we will talk about that. With the new options tab on BB, do you still use the NASDAQ New York Stock Exchange, also with a volume table on options? How do we use that? Um, I just go to options, so you don't have to worry about the Nasdaq New York Stock Exchange. Just click options right there. Yeah, forget the all stocks and that. Just yeah, click options and rock and roll. The new volume tab, Maria, you've got that pulled up.
I do.
It's got the little question mark thing there. You can click that and it goes through all that with you. The main thing I want you to take out of that though is the you know, hold on, I've got this in my way so I can't see. Yeah, it's got all these and what they mean as far as how we use it. It's the main thing that I'm trying to do. So go ahead and that'll help you with that. Maria, can you go to the back to that screen? Click off the options that logs you.
Okay.
See right here the volume ratio. No, 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 no.
Sorry, you want
Let's
volume
see.
ratio?
Right, that right there. See that like KTOS ratio 33.1 times its average 10-day volume on options. So these are things that I'm keeping up with. Like, I believe somebody had a short. Somebody had mentioned shorting that one. Did not catch all the news on that, but that's what I'm looking at. Like Tiffany's 7.6 times average, right? Penn 8.3, Coors 9.2, Michael Kors. So that's how I'm using that more than anything. And I'm seeing over here, okay, like on Cato's, the calls were 4,114. The puts were 28,000. So you had a 7-to-1 put to call ratio. So that's good information for me. I like to keep up with that. The other day we seen one of these that was like 95% calls and it had traded like 30 or 40 times its thing. So that's something that probably be better off for us to go over in the room of how we're using it live versus here. But that's basically the things that I'm looking for sure. Another question here. What do you think about Spotify? I heard the IPO. I love Spotify. I use it all the time. I get pumped up listening to their music every morning. Not their music, but I listen to Spotify every morning before I start trading. I need about 7 or 8 good songs to get woke up, get pumped up. Um, and I rock and roll Spotify all the time. Let's see what it's going to IPO at. I mean, if they're going to IPO at $1 billion, I'm not interested. If they're going to IPO at 15 and run to 30, I'm interested. So let's just see what they're, I like Spotify as a company. So
I think it could be an
that's
exciting
it.
IPO. And
Absolutely,
just
absolutely.
really quickly to go back to the question about the Do you still use the all stocks option? Nasdaq Nice, I do. Like I'm always on the options flow, but throughout the day I do always come back through here, and I'll check the alert log to see if I see anything that that I might like that I could scalp that may not necessarily be seeing flow. Granted, I like to follow the flow. I also will scalp if I know that a stock is a mover. So I do still use this a
Oh,
lot.
I misunderstood that question. I thought he meant, do you use that in conjunction with the options as far as um, what he, you know what? I probably misread that question.
No, you're fine. I think I understand. I think I understand what you thought it was. I still use it, and Tim still uses it. I know he does. We do use, obviously, we stay mostly on the options flow part because we are constantly watching all of this coming through all day long. We're glued to it just to see if there's a play that we could find. But if I'm seeing flow that I can't necessarily determine, like we saw on Friday, where it was just kind of like I don't even understand like what people are doing right now. Which is what it's legitimately what I felt. I kept seeing the same names over and over, but I couldn't get a clear read for most of the day. So I will jump over to the stocks side of it, and I will look to see what's alerted, and I'll look through the alert log to see if there are any stocks that I might be able to trade on here. So yes, we do. And I think that's about all the questions we have time for tonight. Sorry, guys, we went a little bit longer than normal. Um, if you have questions and you are a member, please hit us up in the room, either on the main Black Box website or in Discord. If you're not a member and you want to learn more, hit us up on Twitter or StockTwits, or wherever you find us. Send us your questions. We will help you out. If you are watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel, like the video, and share it. And I hope that everyone has a great week. We will see you next week.
Yep, and see you in the morning.
Absolutely. Stay green. Or, well, I was going to say stay green. Have a great Sunday night, everyone. Um, take care. Bye.
Thanks. Bye bye.